The following episode is brought to you by Lux Brand. Visit their site, the link below, and use the coupon code LHMAFIA to get 20% off your order. The 1980s. It was a decade of big hair, neon colors, and cocaine. So much cocaine. It was followed by a decade of excess as the 1990s brought up even bigger hair, brighter neon colors, and so much more sweet, sweet cocaine. It was also an era of change in the world of sports, and nowhere more so than in the NHL. The league expanded south and featured some of the most explosive talent in the history of the sport. Gretzky, Lemieux, Messier, and Fedorov, to name a few, were all thrust into the spotlight where they excelled. And perhaps the greats excelled a little too well. The Hockey Hall of Fame has been accused from time to time of passing over players who were not cut from the same mold as Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, players who formed the backbone of the National Hockey League by playing on smaller market teams and leading them into the playoffs. Usually, I make episodes of this show and I'm mad. I'm pissed off because I feel that an injustice was done. Well, as this is a special edition of the series, I chose to play it safe and root for the underdog. What if I were to tell you that there was a player who played 16 years in the NHL and led his team to the playoffs in 13 of those? A man who is ranked in the top 50 all-time in goals and top 20 in power play goals in league history, and has yet to even sniff the hallowed halls of the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto, despite helping to lead one of the sport's most revered franchises to the ultimate goal and have his name etched into Stanley's Cup. I think it is time. Time to root for the underdog. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get ready. Sports fans love to talk about numbers. It gives them a funky high and makes them think that they have a giant manhood or something. Personally, I like to take a look at guts and effort. Then I throw in the statistics, and from there I can get a good look at just how good and influential a player really is. In the case of left winger Brian Bellows, I see a rare combination of persistence, guts, and longevity mixed with the scorer's touch that so many fans love. The man is ranked 117th all-time in games played, suiting up 1,188 times, not including the playoffs, scoring 485 goals and 537 assists. One of the stats that I love is the 3,588 shots he took in his career, which ranks him 41st all-time, because as a fan, I like my offensive players to shoot the puck. One thing some sports nerds say that I loathe is this. Well, he played for a long time, so he accumulated all those stats. First of all, dude, go see a dentist, maybe get some skin cream, you get that taken care of, alright? Secondly, isn't that part of being a great athlete? Being an Iron Man and surviving the punishment of playing a full contact sport like hockey at a professional level and not missing games is a hallmark of a great athlete. Is there some luck associated with it? Sure, but luck combined with guts multiplied by skill equals the pretty good resume for the Hall of Fame in my point of view. Folks who don't actively follow hockey really can't understand just how hard it is to win the Stanley Cup. Not only does your team have to excel in an 82-game, 6.5-month season, and then play in a second season, the NHL playoffs. Those who complete this journey are nothing less than survivors. And for those who come up short, it is about as devastating an event in sports that there can possibly be. Brian Bellows spent a decade in Minnesota trying to bring the cup there, and he failed. It was not until the 1992-1993 season, when he was traded from one great white North outpost to another, that he finally was able to take a drink from Lord Stanley's Cup, when he was made part of a super team. The Montreal Canadiens were already one of the league's most talented teams, but they decided to put all their chips on the table and bring in Bellows for the final push for the Cup, and would be a decision that they would not regret. Bellows had a magnificent season for the Habs, leading the team in goals with 40 and ranking third on the team in points with 88. He would also add 6 goals and 9 assists in 18 playoff games that would end with him hoisting one of the most prestigious trophies in sports high over his head. While it has little to no bearing on their Hall of Fame candidacy, I am always fascinated by the steps taken and destinations visited throughout a long career. For Bellows, his junior career started at the age of 15 for the St. Catharines Falcons in 1979. The next 2 seasons he would spend with the Kitchener Rangers of the QM, JHL, and OHL before being drafted 2nd overall in the 1982 NHL draft by the Minnesota North Stars, behind defenseman Gord Kluzak, who was taken by the Boston Bruins. Montreal would bring Brian onto their roster for their run for the Cup in 1992 when they traded right winger Russ Courtnall for him in a straight-up player-for-player trade. He would stay in Montreal until June of 1995, when he would have to buy some shorts and flip-flops as he was traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning, once again in a straight-up player-for-player swap for center Mark Bureau. Bellows would stay in the Bay Area until November of 1996, when the Lightning decided to make a move for youth on their roster as they sent him to the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim for a 6th-round draft choice in the 1997 NHL Draft. That pick would turn out to be defenseman Andrei Skopetsev. Following the 1997 season, Brian found himself as a 33-year-old free agent looking for a team, and the Washington Capitals would sign him up in March of 1998. There, he would spend his final 2 years in the NHL, retiring following the 1998-1999 season. Aside from the National Hockey League, Bellows would also play for Team Canada from 1986 until 1990 in the World Championships, and spend a single season for the Berlin Capitals in Germany. While I'm not as passionate in pushing Bellows into the hallowed halls of the Hockey Hall of Fame as I am with others profiled on this show, his accomplishments and long tenure in the NHL cannot and should not be ignored. Is he a first-ballot Hall of Famer? Certainly not. But his chapter in the great story of the National Hockey League and his contributions to the game globally, I feel, warrant his eventual enshrinement in Toronto. Now comes the time when I can be told just how full of crap I really am by the resident experts of the internet, the YouTube comment section. If you feel strongly for Brian Bellows' candidacy one way or another, I encourage you to post below. If you have a story about meeting, watching, or hell, even playing alongside or against Brian, I recommend you share those tales below. In the end, I doubt this video will sway the voters of the selection committee. But at the very least, we can keep his chances alive right here. Thank you so much for the view, and I will catch you next time.